everybody, and happy spooky season again. I am back today with another tutorial for you all. So it's a bit long, but it is pretty fun once you get going. I'm actually going to show you all how I made this scrapbook. So of course you can always go out and buy a scrapbook, that's super easy. But with this one you get to really personalize the pages that are in it, as well as play around with the sizing a bit. And it does have a bit of a more old-fashioned feel to it. So, enjoy the video, hit that like button, and subscribe. You will need corrugated cardboard, plain paper, scrapbook papers, embroidery thread and needles, a manila folder, glue, a ruler, and a pencil. And optional pieces are tape and cellophane. So to start, I made these signatures, which in bookbinding are stacks of folded nested pages. I made these signatures with top pages from fall and Halloween themed scrapbook pages. I also have some more scrapbook pages with the same themes that I plan on using throughout the book. I also got a pad of drawing paper from the dollar store to make the folded pages. I experimented with gluing or taping the pages together to make them long enough to make a folded page for the signatures. The tape was easier, but the glue was more durable. The drawing pad paper was 9 inches wide, so I cut it by 1/4 inch if it was going to be glued, so that there was a 1/4 inch for the overlap. Or I cut it by 1/2 inch if it was going to be taped. Then I cut the top of the pages by 1 inch so that they would be the standard 8.5 by 11 when folded. I did the same with the scrapbook pages that I put into the book. So to make this scrapbook, I used the book Kit's Friendship Fun, which was one of the books that the American Girl Company made with instructions for children for crafts and recipes. I actually have used the scrapbook instructions in this book quite a lot, especially as a kid when I was big into American Girl. So I'm going to walk you through it today. You will need a manila folder for the spine. Now, the instructions in the book call for cutting a 4-inch wide strip of the manila folder. I am not going to do that though. Instead, I'm going to be cutting a strip that is 6 inches wide and marking out a space 2 inches in the middle from either side. Now, because I plan on putting a lot of bulky things in this book like cards and flowers and leaves, I don't want the pages to bulge out in the middle, so I am going to space the signatures a 1/4 inch apart when I sew them into the spine, and I'm just marking that on the manila folder. From the top edge, make marks 1.5 inches down, 3.5 inch, 5.5 inch, 7.5 inch, and 9.5 inch down. I also cut an inch off the end so that it's just as long as the pages. I pre-punched the holes on the spine with an embroidery needle. From the top you can mark the holes as E, D, A, B, and C. And then I took some white embroidery thread to bind this book. So the way you do it is you go up with your thread at A, making sure to line up one of your signatures, and go through the center of the fold at A from the outside. Then you'll go back down at B. Go back up at C. Go back down at B. Skip to your left and go up at D. Down at E. Back up at D. And back down at A. You may need to tighten your threads and then you can tie them off. If you're doing multiple signatures like I am, you can just continue like that. And here you can see all of the signatures sewn into the spine. Then I'll just clip the edges of the spine diagonally so they can fit nicely against the book covers and underneath the end papers. Then I put another strip of manila folder onto the spine to help stabilize it. I placed a heavy book onto it to press it flat. For the covers, I'm cutting 2 pieces of corrugated cardboard that measure 11 3/8 inches by 9 inches. Then I will cut these covers out with a craft knife. I'm not using scissors because that will crush the corrugation and possibly crease the cardboard. I picked this jack-o'-lantern paper and this gourd paper for the covers and spine. I'm not going to cover the entire cardboard sections with the jack-o'-lantern paper because the gourd paper is going to overlap the covers. I cut the jack-o'-lantern paper down to 9.5 inches, and I left the length alone because I need that to be as long as I can get it, and you'll see why in a bit. And then I measured the back cover for the same. And then I marked on the paper and the cardboard where I wanted to place the paper, as the edges of the paper will need to wrap around to the back of the covers. Then I used Elmer's glue to glue it down, And I like to use old gift cards or those fake credit cards that you get in the mail to smear the glue evenly so that it doesn't have all of those bumps in it when you press a weight onto it, as I'm doing here. When the covers are dry, it's time to adhere the spine. I left about a 1/4 inch from the fold of the spine so that the spine can flex when I open and close the book. And then I'm just trying my best to make the covers align with the edge of the spine when it's glued down. The spine cover I measured for 5 inches wide. The spine cover will overlap the cover pages by about a 1/4 inch. Now, as I wrapped the cover around the spine, I made sure to leave an indent where that 1/4 inch gutter is, if you will, from the spine crease. I'm not going to glue that part, but I will glue the paper to the spine and the back cover, leaving that small gap in the gutter of the back cover as well. Then once that is dry, you will cut a small piece out of the corners of the cover papers in order to curve them over the edges neatly. I like to cut them down diagonally as it just looks a lot nicer. And then just glue the edges of that paper over the cardboard covers. And this is why I needed to get as much of that length as I could for those scrapbook pages, because it was a very tight fit to make sure that I had enough of the scrapbook paper overlapping the back of the covers. Do the same with the edges of the spine cover. Next comes the end papers. I cut them to 9 1/4 and 11 1/8 inches. And then glue those nice and evenly down. The last step I did, and this is completely optional, but I like to protect my covers, was to make a clear dust jacket. I cut some cellophane by about 24 1/4 inches by 11 1/4 inches. On each end, fold over 1.5 inches of the cellophane and just tape the bottom and top edges together of the two sides of the cellophane. Then you can slip that over your scrapbook's cover. Then comes the fun part, putting stuff inside of it. I definitely want to put some floral pieces in the scrapbook, so I collected a bunch of fall leaves that I thought were pretty, layer them between paper towels, and then set a pile of books on top of them to press them flat. Once they're all pressed and dried, I will lay them out on the page with how I want them arranged. And then again, using glue and smearing it evenly to have them lay flat on the pages. And then I just put some weights on top of them to make sure that they adhered flat. When they were all dry, I put a layer of Mod Podge on them to preserve the leaves. And here's what I have so far. I put in leaves, flowers, cards, pictures, and a few other Halloween things. Yes, it is far from done. I will be putting more stuff in it over the years. And of course, because Halloween is my favorite holiday, there's a good chance I'll be making another one in the future. Or maybe just buying one because this was a lot of work. But if you ever find yourself bored to death, by all means feel free to make one of these. I'll see you all next time. Have a great spooky season. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe.